What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. This is a Division Heartland discussion. The reason I wanted to go ahead and make this video is because just recently we've heard that Ubisoft, who had first concluded that they were going to be going to E3, has already decided to back out. So here is an article, or I guess a small announcement with an article link attached to it on VGC, saying Ubisoft has backed out of the E3 2023 expo weeks after announcing it was going to attend. The company will instead hold its own Ubisoft Forward live event on June 12th in Los Angeles. So they're going to be having an in-person event is what I'm thinking. I guess I'm probably going to go with it. They do have a PR team in Ubisoft, I think in Los Angeles there, that actually can get some things going. So this is not out of their wheelhouse. And I think if they're going to do Ubisoft Forward, it will probably help things and be able to allow for people who are looking forward to Ubisoft games to dial into those games that, they're making, like, Assassin's Creed, which many people have been talking about. And I'm sure, like, for the most part, if you look at, say, maybe one of the things people are actually pointing to is that E3 is unnecessary. E3 is, some are saying it's dead. I wouldn't go that far, but I think a lot of these companies are probably trying to go ahead and, see how they will continue their operations without needing E3, because when we saw this issue with 2020 medical and all the other things that happened at that time, it kind of made it unnecessary. It exposed the fact that it was just a showcase that just was costing more money, in my opinion anyways, and was wasting everybody's time. If you cared about a company, the company could do their own exposition or whatever it is that they were wanting to do online. They could bring their games directly to their customers, and people who are in the hardcore community who would have watched E3 would watch their presentations anyways. So this really does open up the playing field, and you can, in the comfort of your home, at your dinner table or in front of your PC, whatever it is you're doing, you could be eating a sandwich and watching your favorite, publisher or your favorite, whatever it is, do their video game thing. So I guess that was kind of fun. Now to the Heartland side. Wow, that was a long introduction. Are we going to see Heartland at this event? What is going on with that game? Just yesterday, I made this video talking about, or I guess today, the awkwardness of how the developers at Ubisoft Massive have been talking about the XP glitch causing latency in the servers and so on and so forth. I think it might be time for the developers at Red Storm to take the opportunity of, players right now not necessarily being satisfied with the current state of the Division 2 in some sense, to start maybe talking about Heartland. Perhaps some players might be interested in this title. I don't necessarily know how interested I will be. I would like to see the premise overall. There were, different, I would say, comments that people made and different expressions of their concerns that I'm, in my mind, thinking that these may be deterrents for a lot of Division players, but it is not, exactly the end of the story. It would have to be one of those games that, we all have to try. We have to see how it works. We have to see how the systems go in place, and then we can make our minds up. The fact that it's also free to play probably will be an attractive factor overall if the game doesn't get canceled. With everything that we're hearing, where Ubisoft is pretty much canceling all these games left and right, I'm in the boat saying, well, maybe it doesn't need to be canceled at this point, because it seems the development team have been working, heavily on this particular title for the past few, years. And again, when you kind of like consider how Ubisoft is going about their games right now, it seems they want to go ahead and focus on very few titles. I think the cancellation of those 11 titles, to me, signal that they're not necessarily going to be, jumping so heavily into, a lot of these other titles that have not necessarily been as profitable as, say, Assassin's Creed. And so Assassin's Creed is more than likely going to be showing, up in that Ubisoft Forward event. Doesn't need too much time to actually market this game. So June, and then, by fall, the game should be out. The question is if Ubisoft is going to take a similar approach with Division Heartland, and this may signal that Heartland is probably going to be hitting in the fall of this year. It's highly probable. I know people have talked about possibly 2024 for Heartland or something like that, but I don't necessarily see how that might be the case. At this point, because the game is free to play, they can go ahead and start to unveil the concept and then build from there. Unless, of course, they don't have, as much content as they think they'll need for players to stay engaged, then this might be some kind of a barrier. Overall, though, I think if we get to see the Ubisoft Forward event and see Heartland, it might provide more exposure because people are just going to dial in directly who are interested in these Ubisoft titles, and we're not going to have too much of, some kind of a concern. Instead, it's going to be something that really does play into the overall, workings of their entire company, and, see us as the fans kind of getting better information, because for the most part, I don't know if you've noticed, Ubisoft has stayed super duper silent all this while, man. It's been insane how quiet they've been about whatever it is that they're doing. Even Assassin's Creed Mirage, or the one that's coming out soon, hasn't received a lot of exposure. Heartland hasn't received a lot of exposure. There's talk that maybe they're trying to sell. I don't know how valid that is, but it's not out of the question. And I'll hate for them to sell to a big player, to be honest. I prefer the fact that things are still very much decentralized in the AAA space, even with the big acquisition that Microsoft is trying to do with Activision. That still decentralizes things. I don't really play a lot of Activision games, and I'm sure millions more gamers don't play Activision games as well. So I'm sure that's probably something that keeps things in perspective as well. So let me hear your thoughts about Heartland possibly being revealed with this opportunity that Ubisoft is taking to host their own Forward event rather than go to E3 and then possibly host that live, Forward live event again. Perhaps this is going to set the stage for a lot of the games that many of us are, I guess, looking forward to or interested in. Whatever it is you want to call it, is just one of those things. Thanks so much for watching the video. I appreciate you guys' time and audience, and hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.